Some of the best adventures are the ones you never see coming, and this journey was full of them. Trust me, you are going to want to stick around for what happens next.
Australia really does not believe in subtle landscapes, because today starts with giant canyon walls, ancient rock formations, and a hidden oasis sitting in the middle of one of the driest places on Earth. And somehow, that is only the beginning. Because later, we attempt a sunrise camel trek across the desert, which sounds peaceful in theory, until you remember camels are very tall and surprisingly opinionated. Kings Canyon rises suddenly from the desert landscape. Huge sandstone cliffs, deep valleys, and rock walls reaching nearly 100 meters high, and standing near the edge for the first time feels slightly unreal, because the scale does not fully make sense at first. The canyon stretches across the landscape like the earth suddenly cracked open.
Australia really looked at normal hiking trails and said, no, let us make it cinematic.
And slightly intimidating. The rim walk begins with what locals casually describe as a steep start, which feels like a very relaxed way of saying your legs are about to negotiate immediately. The first climb is intense. Stone steps winding upward along the canyon wall. And every time you think you have reached the top, Australia politely reveals more stairs. But then, you finally reach the rim, and suddenly, everything changes. The canyon opens completely around you. Red cliffs, deep chasms, endless desert stretching into the distance, and the height becomes very real very quickly. Looking over the edge feels both incredible and deeply personal to your survival instincts. The sheer walls drop almost 100 meters straight down into the valley below, and somehow the silence makes it feel even bigger.
This is the kind of view that makes you forget your own Wi-Fi password immediately.
This landscape was shaped over millions of years. Layers of sandstone slowly carved by wind, rain, and ancient water movement. The cliffs you see today were once part of a much larger sandstone plateau. Over time, erosion cut through the rock, creating deep valleys, steep walls, and the dramatic formations surrounding the canyon. And standing here, you can actually see the layers of geological history built directly into the rock itself, which somehow makes the whole place feel even older. Along the rim, the rock formations begin changing shape. Rounded sandstone domes scattered across the landscape, known as the Lost City, because the formations resemble ancient ruins from a distance. And honestly, it does look like nature accidentally built an abandoned civilization out here, only with significantly fewer tourists and much better sunsets.
And importantly, no ancient gym memberships.
A truly peaceful society. Then suddenly, everything changes again. Because hidden deep inside the canyon, there is permanent water, a sheltered water hole surrounded by towering canyon walls. And after hours of dry desert landscape, the sight of greenery feels almost impossible. Tall plants, shaded pools, bird sounds echoing through the canyon, like discovering a hidden oasis in the middle of the Outback. The area is officially known as the Garden of Eden. But standing here, it feels less like a name and more like nature, quietly protecting something special. This area is deeply important to the local indigenous communities, and visitors are asked to respect the environment and stay on marked paths, because places like this are not just scenic. They carry cultural and natural significance that has existed for thousands of years. And honestly, that respect changes the way you experience the space. It makes you slow down, pay attention more carefully.
Also, this may officially be the first hike where the view distracted me from complaining about walking.
A historic moment for everybody involved. And even in this harsh environment, wildlife appears everywhere once you start looking carefully. Euros, also known as hill kangaroos, move easily across the rocky terrain. Black-footed rock wallabies climb steep canyon areas with surprising agility, which honestly feels unfair, considering most humans are still recovering emotionally from the staircase at this point. And then suddenly, 1 Euro stops, looks directly at us, and somehow manages to radiate the exact energy of someone silently judging tourists. We freeze. For a few seconds, nobody moves. Then it casually hops away, like it had somewhere far more important to be all along.
That kangaroo definitely looked at us like we interrupted its morning meeting.
And honestly, I think we did bird-life moves constantly through the canyon. Small movements hidden between shadows and cliff edges. The landscape feels harsh at first, but once you slow down, you realize it is full of life. everywhere around you. As the day fades, the canyon changes color completely. Deep reds, burnt orange, soft gold across the sandstone cliffs, and somehow the landscape becomes even more dramatic at sunset, because Australia apparently believes moderation is optional. Then comes the next adventure. A sunrise camel trek across the desert dunes, and before this moment, I genuinely believed camels were mostly calm, gentle creatures. Then mine stood up, which turns out to be a full-body experience. Camels were introduced into Australia during the 1800s by Afghan and South Asian cameleers who helped transport supplies across the harsh interior. At the time, camels were perfectly suited for the dry climate and remote distances where horses struggled, and they played a major role in opening trade routes and transport across Central Australia, which means this experience is not just tourism. It is connected directly to Australian outback history.
I appreciate the history deeply, but right now, I am mostly focused on not falling off Trevor the camel.
Trevor absolutely knows that too. As the sun rises, the desert slowly begins to glow, soft orange light stretching across the dunes, long shadows moving over the sand, and suddenly everything feels calm again. The camels move slowly across the landscape, steady, rhythmic, almost peaceful, until Joe's camel attempts a dramatic sideways sit-down halfway through the ride.
Well, why is the ground suddenly so close on one side?
Because your camel just made a personal decision without consulting you. A few seconds later, everything settles again, and honestly, the camel looked far less concerned about the situation than Joe did. What surprises you most about the desert is not the heat. It is the space, open landscape in every direction. No buildings, no traffic, no noise except wind and movement across the sand. And somehow, that emptiness feels calming instead of lonely, like the landscape is forcing you to slow down and actually notice where you are.
There are towns that build upward. Coober Pedy looked at the Australian desert and decided underground sounded smarter. And honestly, after standing outside for about 30 seconds, you completely understand why. Because this place gets unbelievably hot. Summer temperatures here can climb above 50 degrees Celsius, which means stepping outside sometimes feels less like weather and more like accidentally opening an oven directly into your face. So instead of fighting the desert, people adapted to it by carving homes, hotels, shops, and entire living spaces underground. Which means today we are officially entering Australia's underground city. And honestly, it already feels like the setup for either an adventure movie or a very committed air conditioning strategy. And before you even reach town, the landscape starts looking completely unreal. Thousands of dirt mounds stretch across the desert in every direction, almost like giant sandcastles built by extremely determined mole people. These are opal fields, created by over a century of mining, because Coober Pedy is one of the world's most famous opal mining regions, and Australia produces the vast majority of the world's precious opals.
So basically, this entire desert is one giant treasure hunt, with emotional commitment issues.
Exactly, because miners can spend weeks digging through rock and dirt, searching for one tiny flash of color, and sometimes that single stone changes everything, which honestly makes opal mining feel suspiciously similar to buying mystery boxes online. And now, we are officially underground, inside one of Coober Pedy's famous dugout homes carved directly into the sandstone beneath the desert. At first, your brain expects it to feel dark, cramped, or temporary. Instead, it feels surprisingly normal. Living rooms, kitchens, bedrooms, televisions, artwork, even hotels, all hidden beneath the surface. And the best part is the temperature. While the desert outside feels like it is actively trying to cook everyone, underground stays naturally cool, around 23 to 24 degrees all year round. No giant cooling systems, no constant air conditioning noise, just smart design working with the environment instead of against it.
This might be the only place where living in a cave feels luxurious.
Exactly. And honestly, after 10 minutes underground, you start questioning modern housing completely. Now, underground living does require a few adjustments. For example, you become extremely aware of ceiling height very quickly, because every underground tour eventually includes one tall tourist discovering architecture personally.
Joe has checked every doorway like a suspicious giraffe since we arrived.
That is called survival instinct, Sarah. And after a while, the whole town starts feeling strangely futuristic. People casually disappearing into hillsides, underground cafes, hidden inside tunnels, secret-looking hallways connecting galleries, shops, and homes. It feels less like a desert town and more like somebody built a hidden underground civilization and forgot to tell the rest of Australia. And somehow Coober Pedy becomes even more unexpected because hidden underground are entire cafes, galleries, and Opal stores carved directly into the rock walls. At first it feels strange watching people casually drink coffee underground while shopping for gemstones, but after a while, your brain fully accepts it, like this is completely normal behavior.
I think the underground people are slowly recruiting us.
Honestly, after feeling that heat outside, I am considering the offer very seriously. And everywhere you look, there are flashes of color from opals displayed under bright lights. Blues, greens, reds, oranges, all shifting depending on the angle you look at them from. And now, it is time for opal noodling, which is essentially searching through leftover mining dirt, hoping somebody accidentally threw away treasure. Simple idea, dangerously optimistic energy.
This feels less like mining and more like aggressively believing in yourself.
Exactly. And within about 40 seconds, everyone becomes convinced they are one shiny pebble away from instant wealth. Every sparkle suddenly looks important, random rocks become emotional events. People dramatically hold stones toward the sunlight, like archaeologists discovering lost civilizations.
Joe fully gasped at a pebble 5 minutes ago.
That pebble had potential, Sarah. What makes opals special is something called play of color. Tiny silica spheres inside the stone scatter light, creating flashes of color depending on the angle and light source. And because those microscopic spheres must align very precisely, precious opals are actually quite rare, which explains why miners spent generations digging through this desert searching for them. Some opals display blues, greens, oranges, and reds, all inside one stone, almost like tiny captured rainbows hidden underground. And just when you think the Australian outback cannot get more dramatic, Australia introduces one of its largest birds of prey, the wedge-tailed eagle. Australia's biggest bird of prey, with a wingspan reaching over 2.5 meters, which means when one flies overhead, your first reaction is usually not, "What a beautiful bird." It is, "That is significantly larger than expected." These eagles are perfectly adapted for the harsh outback environment, soaring for hours, using warm air currents to travel huge distances across the desert landscape.
That bird just looked directly at me like it already knows my weaknesses.
Exactly. And somehow they always look mildly disappointed in human decision-making. Some wedge-tailed eagle nests become enormous over time, weighing hundreds of kilograms after years of reuse and expansion.
So even the birds in Australia believe in oversized real estate.
Apparently, subtlety is not part of the ecosystem here. Watching one launch into the air up close is incredible. One powerful movement of the wings, and suddenly this massive bird lifts effortlessly into the desert sky. And the strange thing is how quiet it feels. No chaos, no panic, just complete control. The outback suddenly feels much larger once you see it from the perspective of an animal built to travel across huge empty landscapes. An underground town hidden beneath the Australian desert, treasure hunts for rainbow-colored stone, secret underground cafes and shops, and giant eagles silently ruling the skies above the outback. Coober Pedy somehow feels futuristic, historic, and completely ridiculous all at the same time, and honestly, that is exactly what makes it unforgettable. A few days ago, we were standing in the middle of Australia's red centre, surrounded by desert cliffs and dry riverbeds. Today, we're somewhere completely different. Bright turquoise water, tropical islands, white beaches so vivid they almost don't look real. Welcome to the Whitsundays, one of the most spectacular island regions anywhere in Australia.
Honestly, arriving here feels like Australia changed genres overnight. 1 minute it's red dirt and desert heat, and the next it's sailing boats, coral reefs, and water so clear you can see shadows moving across the sand below you. It's impossible not to get excited the second you see the islands appear.
Our journey starts in Airlie Beach, the coastal town that serves as the main gateway to the Whitsunday Islands and the Great Barrier Reef. The Whitsundays are made up of 74 tropical islands scattered across the Coral Sea off the coast of Queensland. And from the moment you arrive, life revolves around the ocean. Boats leave constantly, people walk around carrying snorkel gear, everything feels built around getting out onto the water as quickly as possible.
Even the atmosphere feels lighter here. People aren't rushing, nobody looks stressed, and somehow everyone already has beach hair before they even get near the beach.
To properly experience the islands, we board a catamaran and head out into the Whitsundays. The further we move away from the mainland, the more unreal the scenery becomes. The water changes color constantly depending on depth, sunlight, and the bright sand beneath the surface. Deep blue channels suddenly turn bright turquoise around shallow sandbars.
The colors genuinely look edited. At one point, I stopped trying to describe the water because every few minutes it became a different shade of blue again.
The Whitsundays sit beside the Great Barrier Reef, the largest coral reef system on Earth, stretching more than 2,300 kilometers along Australia's northeast coastline. It's so large that it can actually be seen from space. And being here, surrounded by reef-protected islands and shallow coral seas, you start to understand the scale of it. Our first major stop is Whitehaven Beach, often ranked among the best beaches in the world. The beach stretches for 7 kilometers along Whitsunday Island and is famous for its extraordinary white sand.
And the sand here feels completely different from normal beach sand. It's incredibly soft, bright white, and it actually squeaks beneath your feet when you walk across it, which immediately became today's accidental soundtrack.
That squeaking happens because the sand is made up of around 98% pure silica. Unlike ordinary sand, silica reflects heat very efficiently, which means the beach stays surprisingly cool even under strong Australian sunlight.
Which honestly feels like a miracle considering how strong the sun is out here. Walking barefoot without immediately regretting it feels like excellent planning by nature.
The purity of the silica also creates the brilliant white color that makes the water around the beach appear even brighter. Combined with the clear tropical ocean, the entire coastline almost glows in daylight.
What I love most is how untouched it feels. No giant hotels, no loud beachfront developments, just forest, ocean, sand, and open space. You can walk for ages here and still feel like you found your own quiet corner of the island.
And because Whitehaven Beach is protected within the Whitsunday Islands National Park, the environment is carefully preserved. That protection helps maintain the beach's natural condition and protects the surrounding marine ecosystem. At the northern end of Whitehaven Beach sits Hill Inlet, one of the most photographed locations in Australia. The tides move through the silica sand to create swirling patterns of white sand and turquoise water that shift every single day.
From above, it honestly looks like someone painted the ocean by hand. The sandbars curve and twist through the water in these flowing shapes that never stay exactly the same.
The constantly changing tides reshape the inlet daily, which means every visit looks slightly different depending on water movement and sunlight.
It's one of those places where people stop talking for a second because everyone's busy trying to process how real it looks.
But as incredible as the beaches are, the real adventure begins once you enter the water. We head out toward Bait Reef for snorkeling. Now, for those that don't know, that's on the outer Great Barrier Reef, and the moment you put your face underwater, everything changes again.
There's always a brief adjustment period where your brain goes, wait, this many colors exist underwater? Bright coral, schools of tropical fish, giant clams, sunlight moving through the reef. It feels more like floating through a living city than an ocean.
The Great Barrier Reef supports extraordinary biodiversity, including more than 1,000 species of fish, hundreds of coral species, sea turtles, rays, reef sharks, and countless smaller marine organisms. Every section of reef forms its own interconnected ecosystem.
And the fish here are extremely confident. At one point, I was surrounded by so many brightly colored fish that I genuinely felt underdressed.
One of the highlights of the reef is spotting green sea turtles moving calmly through the water. These turtles are long-distance migrators. Some travel thousands of kilometers across the Pacific before returning to protected nesting beaches. Conservation programs across the Great Barrier Reef help protect nesting areas and marine habitats critical to their survival.
Watching them underwater is surprisingly calming. They move through the reef with absolutely no sense of urgency, which honestly feels like the correct attitude for island life.
For a completely different perspective, we take a scenic helicopter flight over Heart Reef, located within Hardy Reef. Heart Reef is a naturally formed coral structure famous for its distinctive heart shape.
And somehow, it looks even more impressive from the air. The contrast between the deep blue ocean and the bright coral shape is unbelievable. It's one of those moments where you stop trying to take photos and just look properly instead.
Heart Reef became internationally famous because of its natural formation and remote location within the reef system. Protected conditions here help preserve the surrounding coral environment. As evening approaches, we sail back toward Airlie Beach while the light slowly changes across the islands. The ocean softens into darker blues, the islands become silhouettes against the horizon, and the entire Whitsundays region takes on a completely different atmosphere.
This is the part where the day finally catches up with you. You realize you've spent the day sailing through tropical islands, walking on silica beaches, snorkeling the Great Barrier Reef, and flying above coral formations. And somehow it still feels relaxed instead of rushed.
That's what makes the Whitsundays so special. The scenery is extraordinary, but the pace never feels chaotic. Everything moves with the ocean.
And honestly, after today, I completely understand why people come here once. are beaches, there are coral reefs, and then there is Ningaloo Reef, a place where the Australian outback crashes directly into the Indian Ocean. Red desert cliffs, turquoise water, and marine life so close to shore, you can literally walk off the sand straight into a UNESCO World Heritage Reef. And today, things get very interesting very quickly, because somewhere beneath this water are the largest fish on Earth. And somehow, they are also some of the gentlest creatures in the ocean. Plus, there may be underwater puppies involved. Exmouth feels remote in the best possible way. Long open roads, dry rugged landscapes, and ocean appearing suddenly beside the desert, like someone forgot geography was supposed to make sense. The drive through Cape Range National Park feels almost cinematic. Rocky cliffs and wide empty beaches, bright blue water stretching endlessly beside the coastline. And what makes Ningaloo different from most reefs in the world is how close everything is to shore. This is a fringing reef, meaning the coral grows directly along the coastline instead of far offshore. So here, you do not need a massive boat journey to reach incredible marine life. Sometimes, it is literally a short swim from the beach. And honestly, Turquoise Bay looks exactly like the name sounds. Bright, crystal clear water, soft white sand, and coral reef visible beneath the surface before you even enter the ocean. The famous drift snorkel here feels almost unreal. You float naturally with the current, while the reef slowly moves beneath you like a giant underwater nature documentary. Fish everywhere, coral gardens below, sunlight shifting through the water in bright moving patterns. And suddenly, you stop swimming completely and just drift, because the ocean is doing all the work for you, which honestly feels like the healthiest possible relationship with exercise. Then suddenly, movement. A sea lion darts through the water beside us, fast, curious, completely unbothered by humans existing nearby. And within seconds, more appear, twisting through the water, spinning underwater, looping around each other like aquatic gymnasts showing off for fun. Sea lions are incredibly playful animals and incredibly fast, reaching speeds up to 40 kilometers per hour underwater, which becomes very obvious the moment you try to keep up with one.
I feel like they are being athletic, specifically to embarrass us now.
And honestly, I think you are correct. Meanwhile, us humans are mostly trying not to lose snorkels while spinning in circles underwater, attempting to follow them. And somehow, the sea lions make the entire thing look effortless. What makes these animals even more special is how rare they are. There are only around 10,000 Australian sea lions left in the world, making them one of Australia's rarest marine mammals, which means experiences like this feel less like entertainment and more like being briefly welcomed into their world. And truly, I tell you, that changes the entire experience. Then comes the moment everyone waits for at Ningaloo. Whale sharks, the largest fish on Earth, and despite the name, not whales, actual fish. Gentle filter feeders that can grow up to 12 meters long, which somehow sounds impossible until one appears beside the boat. And suddenly, your brain realizes the ocean is significantly larger than you previously emotionally processed. At first, you only see the shadow beneath the surface, huge, slow-moving, almost unreal beneath the water. Then, the pattern becomes clear. White spots stretching across its body like constellations underwater. And suddenly, everyone on the boat becomes dramatically quieter, because moments like this do not need much commentary. Sliding into the water beside a whale shark feels impossible at first. You expect something that size to feel intimidating, but they move slowly, calmly, almost peacefully through the ocean, filtering plankton as they swim, completely uninterested in humans beyond occasionally swimming past us like living submarines with better skin patterns. Trying to keep pace becomes the real challenge, because even moving casually, they are still enormous, powerful animals built perfectly for open ocean movement.
I would just like to point out that swimming beside a 12-meter fish really changes your perspective on personal fitness.
And humility very quickly. What makes Ningaloo unforgettable is not just the wildlife. It is the contrast. Red Outback cliffs meeting bright coral reef. Dry desert landscapes ending directly beside turquoise water. It feels like two completely different worlds collided perfectly, and somehow, neither one overpowers the other. Back near Lighthouse Bay, the water becomes calmer again. Sea turtles glide slowly beneath the surface, fish moving through coral formations below. And after the adrenaline of swimming beside whale sharks, everything suddenly feels peaceful again. The ocean here constantly changes mood. Wild one moment, calm the next, and somehow, that unpredictability makes the whole experience even more memorable. Back on shore, everyone looks equally exhausted and slightly confused emotionally. Saltwater hair in every direction, wet towels everywhere, and the universal post-ocean expression of what actually just happened today. Because there is something very surreal about casually saying, yes, I swam next to the world's largest fish this morning, and then immediately eating snacks and flip-flops afterward, like that is a completely normal afternoon. Ningaloo Reef feels different from anywhere else. Not crowded, not overbuilt, not trying too hard, just wild coastline, extraordinary marine life, and one of the few places on Earth where the desert meets vibrant coral reef almost directly. From playful sea lions, to giant whale sharks, to coral reefs just meters from shore, this place does not just feel beautiful, it feels alive. From giant canyon walls and desert camel treks, to playful sea lions and swimming alongside the world's largest fish, Australia has given us adventures we will never forget. Join me again next week for even more incredible journeys, only here on Sky 83,